Just wanted to do a little quick video on a method that we've come across to put up some misters above our swimming pool in our backyard. Um, in in the area here, we get pretty hot in the summer. We're in Winnipeg, Canada. Yes, during the winter, yes, it gets bloody cold here, but in the summer it also gets extremely hot. And where our backyard pool is great in that the solar panels we use to get most of our heat get lots of sunshine. But we also have essentially little to no shade in the afternoon on this pool and into the evening. And when it gets extremely hot here, it can get well above 30 C, or it can get above 30 degrees Celsius. What's that, 90-ish in Fahrenheit, plus high humidity when we get to those high heats here. So we've tried to find a way to try and keep cool here. So what we came across was basically we looked at misters, we looked at spray fountains, we looked at a variety of different things to try and to put up, and we couldn't really come up with anything until one day my brother and I were in Princess Auto, which if you're Canadian you might know about the store. If you're American, you won't know about it. But they do some surplus type stuff, some different name brands of tools and things like that. Perhaps maybe a little bit like Harbor Freight. Not really sure exactly what those are like in the States, but it sounds similar. Correct me in the comments if I am wrong. But what we ran into was a irrigation system. It is made basically a rubber hose, probably that's less than a half inch, maybe a half-inch rubber hose that you cut to whatever lengths you want, and you insert little irrigation brass pieces. I'll show you a picture, basically some videos of those in a few minutes, but so you cut the lengths you want, you insert these brass fixtures, and you use a special nozzle to hook it up to a garden hose, and they will mist. It's for irrigating plants that only require a little bit of irrigation. They don't need to get drenched, they get misted. So the kit's pretty cool. It comes with it came with a variety of good selection, a good number of ends, bits, or pieces that were all pass-throughs. Plus, it gave one at the end, so that would be basically to pressurize and cap off the hose. And we found that works extremely well. I'm going to show very shortly here how I put it up. We basically run it from an upper patio deck across to our wooden fence on a rope system. Basically, it comes from the deck across a rope, runs a few feet, about 6 feet along the pool, and then goes back across. And we have misters about every 3 feet across the, probably even less than that, but every 3 feet though, across the pool. And they spray and they make quite a good, nice, fine mist. It cuts down the feel of the heat when you're in the pool, so you got the nice cooling pool, but it feels like you're cooking any pieces of your body that you get out of the pool. But when you get the misters on, it actually drops the temperature pretty decently, and it helps feel very comfortable. So for us Canadians that aren't used to the heat as much, it certainly gets us more use out of the pool, we find. So I'll end up switching over and showing you a little bit of the equipment, the pieces that we use, and then I'll start showing how we mount it. Alright, so before I get started, I'm going to do a little overview of the pool area, what we have. So over on our northwest side, we've got a south-facing backyard, so this is the northwest corner of the backyard. This is where we have all our equipment, plus we also have the water pipe. Right now we have a hose coming out of there. That hose is, for putting water in the pool and filling up watering cans, that kind of stuff. I will be putting a standard splitter on there, so we can use that hose still, and also use the hose going into the sprayer. It doesn't require much pressure, so having the splitter is not that big a deal, especially since we don't use the other hose all that frequently either. And as I spin around, we have our pool, our 16 by 32 pool, and we have a wooden fence across the back, big gazebo on another deck at the far end with a hot tub, and then our upper patio deck. So this, across from this patio, basically we'll run a rope across from up high, say up about there, across the pool over and tack to the fence, and then it runs over to the one fence post, run over to the other fence post, and then back over and tie on the other side of the patio deck. So we get a good cross section of the middle of the pool, so you can be in the mist if you want, or you don't need to be if you don't want to. So you can see the big tree there. It does give us some nice shade in the morning going into early afternoon. It's about 1 o'clock right now, and that's basically about it for the shade that we're going to get on this pool for the rest of the day. So it's, yeah, having a little something to help cut down on the overarching heat is a good thing. Okay, so now look a little bit at the equipment itself. So you can see here, this is the size of the hose that's used. It's not very big, about a 1/2 inch. A little adapter that goes onto a standard faucet, garden faucet, like a garden hose. And there's a little adapter on the screws on the end here. This hose, you just cut it to the length you want, and then you put in your various adapters. So if you can see here, this is one of the adapters. Little spray nozzle on the end, so you basically put on this little pressure fit screw-on connector. It goes into this little piece here, and there's one out the other side for the pass-through. And if we look up at the top of this thing, hopefully this is in focus. You can see just a little tiny hole on there, just right on the top here. Just a little tiny hole for water to come misting out. And you can loosen and screw to turn these around and adjust the angle that these things go. Hopefully the shadows aren't messing that up too bad. And then as I get near the end, I will show you, once I get this thing all out, I will spread out, I will show the end piece that caps it off. Alright, so start on the far side of the pool, and what I will start with is to find each end of the hose and basically unravel this. And what there is 2 pieces of rope, and then the hose itself is continuous from one end to the other. So there's one end of the rope, and this is the other end of the rope. So looking at that, I may have a busted hose, or busted rope. See how this goes. Yeah, I have a busted rope. So I need to go back and restart this with or maybe I can tie these together. We'll see how that goes. So basically, okay, here I mentioned before, here is the end piece. See, it does not have a continuation portion coming out, and it's just got the little round little end piece right there. So this will go on that side of the deck. So I'll run that over here. So that will go across, several little sprayers across the way. Straighten some of those out while I'm here. And then this will go into right underneath the post there. There is, got my hammer, hiding under the tree here is a little end piece here. So I want to make sure that I have got this this rope tied in here very well, because while the hose itself is not particularly heavy, what we do need to do is ensure that when this rope gets wet, it stays held strong. Basically, this rope will weave and it will tighten when it gets wet. So we want to make sure that that stays well connected. Okay, and we'll do the other side here. See, the hose is continuous across. Put a second rope. So there. Arrow, be quiet. Okay, so then this is the other side here. And I need to get both these sides across the pool. Some way, some fashion. Presumably what I will do, because I got the cover on, is I will fire this across and I will, well, see how far I can get it by walking it around, and then we'll go from there. So you can see on this side, this is where we've got this part. It's closest to the water, so I'll just use that. So there you go. Now a little view across. You see it's angled pretty well. So it looks like I do not have to cut the rope. I was just looking at it incorrectly, so that's good. I did not have to get a new rope. You see here, this little tie strap has popped off. So I am going to need another tie strap when I get this done to clean this up. This rope should go through there. I'm not going to be able to feed that through. So I will just get this across where I can, tighten the rope, and then I will get another zap strap and fix that. So yeah. So I get the rope across and through here. Tie it to this post. This post is quite sturdy. I mean, not that it needs that much, but it's yeah, and I lost it. Not surprising. There we go. Easy enough. Okay, so slide that through, slide that through. So you can see the kind of interesting fence or rope guide we've got, or what we've got for safety net on our deck here, on our patio. We've got that on decorative fence throughout the yard as well, and it's an interesting little weave pattern. That's a horrible knot that we've done. We started out using the same type of rope to do this, but yeah, don't make fun of my knot tying capabilities. They are not good, and I understand that. But you know what? I'll just get that one started from there, and I'll fix that just for the sake of doing this video. So I'll go across and get the other one. But yeah, so they're basically with this the rope section. We've got a whole whack of eye hooks across the 2x4s, and we've tied the rope, or tied the clothesline in this case, across. And it does meet various requirements for the municipality, so that's good. But it gives me very clear visibility through there without it paying for expensive glass, and it works quite well. Okay, so I can walk across here without stepping in the step of the pool. Excellent, that works. Okay. Feed this through. Hopefully the GoPro on my head is catching this quite well. Just never know. See if I can get this one without dropping it. There we go. So yeah, so I want it fairly snug, but not too tight, because as I said, the weave on this rope does tighten with when it gets wet. So when it's raining, or when I turn the misters on, it will tighten. Again, an awful knot tying, but there you go. Okay, so there's that piece from there. So you can see across we have the end piece right here, and several across the way, and then it runs, basically we do not spray directly on the path, we spray down onto the pool area so we can walk around the outside of the deck. And then we got our hose over here. So we have a hose waiting to be attached. Let me grab the hose here. I think I will go repoint one of the video cameras maybe. Yeah, you know what, I think I'm fine. So here is the part that's going over towards the actual faucet, or spigot, and here's the other piece of it. Okay, so what I will be doing is re-tie strapping that, but try and keep this from just dropping while I've got this set up. I'm just going to hook it up right there. Hopefully you can see this well. go. Okay. And then, yeah, I will. Yeah, that should be good for now. There's my my spigot. So we'll kind of basically run this along here on the edge of the pool, or the patio here. I'll probably do some tie straps to kind of keep that where it needs to be as well. Kind of clean that up after the fact. Nice long hose, way more than I need, but it's not like I put a 50-footer in this, so yeah. So yeah, so we'll run this over here. Oh, I need to replace the handle. It's a little busted. Okay, pop that off of here. And as long as, yeah, it doesn't have a spinning end there, so I can put it on tight like that. Put this guy on here. I think both valves are shut at this point. Oh, cross-thread that sucker. There we go. Okay, there, that's that. Those are on tight. That's on tight. Yeah, pressurized. Sucker's leaking a little bit. Again, I did not need to have that on full pressure. Got nothing coming yet. Turn this open. It'll start to come through here. Here the water is starting to tighten. And here we go, the misters are starting. So, you can see it's kind of spraying up and across. Comes very nicely. I like that one down a little bit, but it actually does spread the distance that goes pretty well. That's an interesting word. Yeah, so those are spraying down. So one thing I do have to be careful of is when I'm walking, but that's about as high as I can get it. So yeah, I can see it. Let's see how well you can see there, but it's spraying pretty nicely and it's aiming towards the pool. Yeah, so it's not all that useful when it's really windy, but when it's really windy, we shouldn't be that hot either. So that's good. That's all working pretty well. That looks pretty good. So I will need to find another zap strap, and I will then grab a different camera and run through the basics again in case the GoPro did not get everything. Okay, so I think I got her all up and running here. See how well the camera picks up the mist. I'm gonna run through quickly again a bit on how this is all set up with this camera, because I'm not sure how much the GoPro got while I was had it strapped to my head doing the work. Can't never be entirely sure where it's pointed. So yeah, so the hose is kind of run from over here, from that splitter, which is leaking like a sieve. So I've got to figure that out, where that's coming from. I may have, I'll have to double check and see what's going on there, but that looks like I may have lost a seal or something there, so I'll have to double check that, but I'll get to that. Yes, the brown hose comes out, down, over, kind of strapped up out of the way so no one trips on it, doesn't get in the way of getting out our net, and any pool toys underneath the deck. Comes up. There's an adapter which I had to tighten the screw on there and tighten down the little bit here. So it's just a pressure fit screw on thing. That's all good. Now I'll have to watch, make sure that's not leaking, because it was dripping down onto the wood here and I don't want that. Yeah, so then it goes across and you can see the misters. Now the pack I had got comes with it came with a certain number of misters, and I got an extension pack to give me a few additional. Even still, I think it was a good 50-foot hose that came with it, so it was quite long. I've got spare still downstairs in case I ever want to change what I've done. I think I used all the misters just to be safe. But yeah, we got pretty close to about 3 feet in between. You can see how well it's misting. It's got good water coming out. It's nice. If I stand underneath them, the temperature does drop quite nicely. Yeah, so that comes across the pool. Try not to trip on the solar cover. So yeah, I specifically left the solar cover on. Well, it'll be prettier video with the solar cover off. I specifically left it on in case I dropped the hose into the pool. It would be easier to grab with the cover on, and that proved to be the case. We also found when first time we put it on, one of these little brass bits that are on the end of the sprayer had actually managed to roll out of the end piece, and it was actually sitting on the solar cover, so we were able to save that, so that was kind of nice. Yeah, so we got several across. Yeah, standing even right here, I can tell quite a temperature difference. Yeah, so it's spraying pretty nice. Hopefully the camera is focusing on that. It's hard to tell. And then, yeah, it's just screwed into the, nailed, tacked into the wood there. Again, I got to be careful when this rope gets wet. It does tighten the fibers do get tighter, so that will start to pull more against the fence and against the patio. But we have seen before where it's managed to slide out of there, pulled right out of the little tack. One sprayer right here, just kind of in the middle, kind of nice. It was not strictly necessary to do that, but I kind of figured it would be good to kind of keep that like that, and it does sometimes drip, so the kids like to kind of drop under it and get that little cold blast of water sometimes. Again, same thing on this side. Hose through the trees here, or the rope through the trees here. We do need to trim this tree back. I talked with a neighbor about that yesterday, so some of this will need to be trimmed back. Make sure it doesn't start interfering with the pool. And then it runs across again to the other side. I'll just walk across without tripping on the dog, hopefully. Hey, excuse me, Earl. Then it comes over here to this side and ends and tied there. Now, interestingly, I've seen this before. This last one not working because it's at the end of the hose. If there's any crap that falls through, it ends up kind of getting stuck right in that last little bit. So I'll have to work on that, see if I can get that kind of cleaned up. Usually it's just kind of a blow into it and it'll start working again. But I'm not going to do that on camera. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. It's kind of nice to have that there. So, and the nice thing is, I'm not sure how well it comes across on the camera, but the sound is really nice and peaceful and relaxing. Just hear that hiss, and yeah, it can be kind of nice to sit out here on a nice warm day and just hear that, even without music and stuff like that. So yes, so I'm gonna let it go at that, and hopefully get this all together as a video and go from there. Talk to you later. In the pool with the misters. Different view from what you got in the previous shots.
I believe you're in the pool with the misters.
Indeed. It's the talking flamingo.